Attention, this is a matter of national security. After a meteorite crashed into the New Jersey Turnpike, the following digital audio transmission from the You Watch I Listen podcast was intercepted by NASA scientists in the year 2019. The You Watch I Listen podcast is about to start. Sit down, listen close, and try not to die. The You Watch I Listen podcast starts now.
So we are headed into Week 12 of the NFL season. Taylor had his first week where he gained ground and he gained a game.
I'll take it, dude.
So I am still in first place at 160-1. Taylor Josh is in second at 98-62-1, and Taylor is 96-64-1.
What was the one game I picked that you guys didn't? Do we know?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I honestly don't remember.
Because
you picked the Eagles over the Patriots.
Yeah, that's the one.
That was the one that you fucked up.
Yeah,
you would have had a better week. But now you sit 2 games behind Josh, and you sit 4 behind me. You went 12-2 last week, and Josh and I both won 11-3. You picked a bad week to have your best week, but your best week nonetheless. So a couple things before we head into Week 12. The NFL is currently trying to push a 17-game season.
Nope.
It should not happen.
Nope, shouldn't.
It will not happen. The players don't want it. The NFL desperately wants to get rid of preseason, which I understand why, but you're also completely cutting out the opportunity for players that otherwise would not make the team.
I would say you have the ability for to look at undrafted stars.
Correct.
So, like someone like a Philip Lindsay would have the opportunity to make the team.
Exactly. And they want to at least cut it down to 2 games, which I think would be fine. But the biggest thing in the next collective bargaining agreement will be the elimination of Thursday night football, which all the players want for the most part, which I fully think should happen. Maybe a couple Thursday night games a year. The first week of the season, last week.
This year, the Thursdays haven't been all that terrible, but the first couple years, the Thursday games, for the most part, have been absolutely
My biggest problem is, don't tell me you care about player safety and then they're making guys play on Thursday after they played on Sunday.
Play on Thursday, and then not to mention you want to add more games. There was the original thing that they wanted to make 18 game schedule.
Yeah, well, the only reason this is how you get Thursday night games to happen. Teams only have Thursday night games when they're coming off their bye week. That's the only way it should happen if player safety is paramount to you. So, stupid. I don't even want to talk about the Colin Kaepernick thing because I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of both the NFL and Colin Kaepernick on both sides. They're both liars. They're both phony. It's not transparent at all on either side. I'm done with it. Done with it.
Yeah, I think we just don't give it the time of day because it's not worth our time.
So why don't we just get into this? Thursday night, Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. The Texans are 4-point favorites at home. Josh.
I'm going to take the Texans here. They lost a bad one to the Ravens.
Really bad one. The first game in Deshaun Watson's career that he lost by more than one possession, which is crazy.
That's going back to high school.
And, they're the home team. You expect them to bounce back. Deshaun Watson is not a bad player. He's a great quarterback.
He's a great player. He was in the MVP running until last week.
I like them to bounce back here at home.
Okay.
I do agree with you that Deshaun. I am picking the Colts, but I do agree with you that Deshaun Watson is more part of the reason that they're going to succeed in the future as opposed to the problems that they have currently. But I just think that the Colts are just going to come out on fire after they didn't really play all too well last week. I mean,
they demolished Nick Foles. And they ran the ball all over him. But very good defensive line.
But here's the thing: that's only the tip of the iceberg for them.
Sure.
Jacoby Brissett did not play his best game, but he played well enough.
Yeah.
And like I said,
the running game very good defensive line,
and the running game bailed them out.
But they did lose Marlon Mack for a while.
Yes, which definitely does
broken
stink.
wrist. But behind that line,
outside of that, also because the Colts had the greatest touchdown celebration, Quentin Nelson gets his first career touchdown, and then he celebrates with a keg stand. Shout out to you. But I'm going to pick the Colts. Colts this
I am
week.
also taking the Colts, and again, it's because T.Y. Hilton owns the Houston Texans.
So that's what I thought earlier in the year when they played earlier in the year. I picked the Texans, and T.Y. Hilton had 2 touchdowns and 145 yards.
I'm
not doing that again.
He owns them. I mean, it's especially because Andrew Luck owned them. He was like 11-0 against them or some shit, some wild
Andrew
shit.
Luck was always good in the division. Man. He always was.
I'm also taking the Colts. The next game, the Miami Dolphins coming off a loss to the Buffalo Bills against the Cleveland Browns, coming off their win over the Steelers. But all anyone wanted to talk about was Myles Garrett and the brawl at the end of it. Completely took the shine off what was their most impressive victory of the year on both sides of the ball.
So real quick, not their most impressive victory. Most impressive victory was over Baltimore early in the season, which is crazy that they put up a 40 burger on Baltimore. But at the same time, just to get it out of the way, Myles Garrett, easy done for the rest of the season.
I think he's going to get a reduced because there is a precedent for this.
I understand. But what I'm saying is that he used it as a deadly weapon. Now, again, we could argue and we could debate till the end of time. My personal opinion and feeling on it, you give him this year, you give him minimum 68 games next.
68.
Six.
They went from 17-game season to a 68-game season.
I got way too ahead of myself. 6 to 8 games next year. Because if you really want to send a message, because what he did, I mean, we've seen people throw punches, we've seen fights, we've seen all these things.
Then too.
No, I agree because he did kick him in the balls. But he
tried taking off his helmet first. Like you started it. Myles Garrett tried to finish it, not condoning what Myles Garrett did, but you were trying to rip off this dude's helmet, who is 6'5", 270. Now, you stupid asshole.
Now it was over until Mason Rudolph got back in his face and he. Absolutely.
Mason Rudolph's the kid that he starts a fight and then says his dad's going to sue you.
Now he wears boat shoes on the reg. Yeah. But like I said, my other thing too is that I listen. Even though Pouncey got a very very light punishment for what he did, because in reality he should have been suspended a lot longer.
Sure.
I think the NFL watched the film, took that into account, saw exactly what happened, just defended his guy. That's all he did. And anyone else would react the same way.
I think I think personally that Myles Garrett will play again this year, and I think that if the suspension is upheld to 6 games for the rest of the season, he will play the full 16 next year, because there's precedent with a specific game. I forgot which team it was, but it was just 4 years ago where a guy took off his helmet and swung it at an opposing player, didn't have their helmet on, and he got a 2-game suspension. So the NFL put themselves in a box. They have legal precedent. I don't remember specifically,
because I don't know.
I learned this today because of his agent that is working on his appeal, or his attorney. There is actual precedent for this, that the NFL previously did not give the maximum punishment. The only reason they got this punishment is because it was a primetime game.
Yeah,
it was a primetime game. If this was a 1 o'clock game on a Sunday, he would get suspended, but it wouldn't be for the indefinite suspension.
Especially Browns Steelers, it's a division game. So
not condoning it. But let's get back to the game. Miami Dolphins, Cleveland Browns. Browns 10.5-point favorites at home. Taylor.
I'll take the Browns, not with the spread. I like the Browns just to win outright.
Yeah,
I don't like 10.5 points. The Dolphins are playing well enough where they can keep up with the Browns, and the Browns are underachieving enough where they stink.
I too am going to take the Browns, and I agree that I wouldn't take that spread because of the simple reason that the Browns seem to play down to their competition. They lead the league in penalties, while Miami has the least amount of penalties in the league, and that alone should keep a game somewhat close. I am starting to see some things with the Browns, and it seems like they're hitting their stride, but now that you just took one of the best defensive players in the league off the field, that kind of changes the dynamic of their defense. That was the 6th best pass defense in the league, but the 7th worst run defense in the league. So, but I'm still going to take the Browns here.
I'm taking the Browns too.
Okay. The next game, your Denver Broncos at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills beat the Dolphins. The Bills are 4-point favorites at home. Broncos blew their fourth quarter lead of the season this year.
23-0. They were leading
a 23-point lead in the second half. Taylor, your team.
I'm going to pick the Broncos in this in an upset. I think the Broncos are. It's so funny how what they look like with this Allen kid at quarterback. Like, it's weird, and you're seeing Cortland Sutton really blossom into that true number one, that big primetime player on the outside of the numbers that they're really looking for. They're finally starting to hand the ball to Phillip Lindsay, and they're finally starting to actually expand the offense. Get a little. I don't know why that's hilarious. And get a little creative on offense.
Yeah. Cortland Sutton threw a touchdown.
No, he threw a pass. He didn't throw a touchdown. But it did.
Oh, it was. That's right.
Emmanuel Sanders threw a touchdown last year. But I like Denver to win this game just because I think Buffalo really isn't all that, and I think Denver has enough spark to really ignite and get themselves a win over a team that's severely overachieving in the Buffalo Bills. So I'm going to take the Broncos.
Joshua.
I am going to take the Bills at home.
Yeah, I am also taking the Bills at home here. They have a very good home field advantage. The things they do well, especially play well at home. You're going to be in, Denver's not exactly a warm place, but Buffalo this time of year is fucking
freezing.
brutal. They run the ball well. They defend the run really well. They have a defensive tackle who has 7 sacks this year going against that interior line on the Broncos, which has not been great. I think that what Josh Allen is doing and against this Broncos team will play very, very well. I think they're going to force a lot of turnovers on the Broncos side of the ball. I think that the Bills will win by at least 10 points. Personally.
No, okay. I mean, it's not an outrageous assumption.
Yeah, I think I think the Vikings had possible. You know what happened with the Vikings in the first half this past week?
I think
it was exactly what happened to them against the Bills last year
when they
that massive. Yeah, and then they came back and won.
Yeah.
The Bills are playing really with a big edge, and I think at home that's going to play out. So, next game, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals. Are we wasting time on this? Are we all taking the Steelers?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. The next game, the New York Football Giants at the Chicago Bears. The Bears continuing to struggle massively with Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback. And the New York Giants coming off their bye week at 2-8. Right now they have the number 3 pick in the NFL draft if it started today, which is fucking, I knew they'd be bad, but you guys stink.
Yeah.
And the Bears are 6-point favorites at home.
I think that spread's a little too big.
I think it's a little too big because I think the Giants are going to win. As good as the Bears are defensively, they have massive, massive issues on offense, and it goes beyond Mitch Trubisky. The play calling has been unimaginative. When your quarterback is struggling, especially with Matt Nagy, who I thought was a pretty good play caller last year, has gotten completely uncreative with his play calling. There are little hitches and 5-yard outs, and it just doesn't work.
I think part of that is due to the fact that we see who Trubisky actually is now.
Yeah, sure.
So maybe he's getting a little gun
last year. It worked last year with the same guy.
Well, the thing is that the thing that happened last year is not working this year. Will happen to Jared Goff and the Rams.
Sure.
So maybe there's that parallel thinking there as well.
Yeah, it's possible, but the difference is Jared Goff lost his quarterback coach in Zach Taylor, who's now the Bengals coach. The only difference here is that I've seen less creativity from Matt Nagy. And, they've lost some close games due to their kicking situation. You figured after what happened in the playoffs last year, they would have gotten that fixed, but here we are. I think the only way the Giants lose this is if Daniel Jones turns the ball over. And that is very, very possible with a defense like the Bears, who get to the quarterback. They force a lot. I think they're second in the league in forced fumbles right now. But despite that, coming off their bye week, a little more refreshed. They're going to get Evan Ingram back. I think Barkley is due for a big game finally, and I think it's going to be in this one. Khalil Mack is not having a typical Khalil Mack season, so I'm going to take the Giants in this one.
All right, so just, again, for what you said, I'm going to take actually the Chicago Bears just for defensively. That reason.
Yeah, it's not a crazy proposition.
Like you said, Khalil Mack has been relatively quiet.
5.5 sacks on the year.
I mean, he's had it's okay for an above average player, I guess. Or
it's
an
okay
for
an average player. It's not okay for what he gets paid.
For a Khalil Mack, who was Defensive Player of the Year last year, practically. But I just think that the Chicago defensively is just too good. I think there's so many problems on offense, and with a rookie quarterback. With Daniel Jones, I just don't see it happening. I really think that Chicago's going to win this game.
Josh?
Yeah, I got to go with Chicago. At home, the defense, Daniel Jones on the road. It just recipe makes for.
I thought about taking Chicago, and I went with my original gut instinct was the Giants because I don't like the Bears' offense enough. I can't trust it, and not that the Giants' offense is anything to rave about, but
they have much more weapons, and not to mention I have more faith in Daniel Jones than Mitch Trubisky at this point.
Yeah, and I don't even know if Mitch Trubisky's playing because he was removed from the game with a hip injury. So it could be Chase Daniel.
Sure. And they would probably play better, to be honest with you.
They very well may. But you got to take a couple upsets, so I'm going to take the Giants. Next game is the Oakland Raiders at the New York Jets. Jets coming off their second straight win over the romping of the Redskins, where Jamal Adams broke the single-game record for sacks from a defensive back in a game with 3. He's only 3 away from the single-season record for a defensive back held by Adrian Wilson, set in 2005. Raiders coming off a win over the Bengals that was closer than it needed to be, but they won nonetheless. 3-point favorites on the road. Josh?
I am convinced that the Jets would look like a superstar team against any of the other bad teams. But the second that you put them in there with even a halfway decent team, they're going to look like the rest of the bad teams. I'm taking the Raiders here. I have no faith in the Jets, no faith in Adam Gase. They won 2 games. You know what that means as as a Dolphins fan with Adam Gase. They're going to lose this game.
Sure.
Same exact reasons Josh said. I want to pick the Jets, but I can't. I got to play safe, but I also have to make up ground at the same time. This is a game I don't want to take that chance on.
Okay. I'm also taking the Raiders. The Jets, they look great against the Redskins, where Dwayne Haskins has to sit there and plead with his offensive line to block for him, and they laugh at him.
I legitimately feel bad for him for that. Because he's sitting there because he's a rookie.
He literally says, "What do I have to do to help you?"
And
he's trying to be a leader, and they're laughing.
And it's sad because a lot of that has to do with Daniel Snyder, the owner. It has
everything
always.
to do. Yeah, he's just poisoned the well.
How he doesn't care.
Yeah.
It sucks, man.
All right. Next game is the the Carolina Panthers at the New Orleans Saints. Saints bounce back very, very strongly from their loss to the Falcons. One of their best defensive performances of the season, and they are 9.5-point favorites at home. Are we all taking the Saints?
Yes.
I'm taking the Saints because I had Carolina in my fucking parlay last week, and because Josh's piece of shit Falcons decided in the last 2 weeks the Saints and the Panthers 11 sacks. Where the fuck was that all year in 2 games? Fuck you, Grady Jarrett, you piece of shit.
All right, so we're all taking the Saints. Yeah. Next game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons.
Should have waited.
Falcons are 4.5-point favorites at home. Josh.
So there's not much playoff hope because of the
terrible start.
No, because of how well the Seahawks and how well the Vikings
terrible
are
start.
playing. No, because if
you won your games, it wouldn't matter how well those other teams are doing.
Yeah, but I'm not worried. Playoff teams have happened at 9-7 before.
Sure.
But because of the 2 current wild card leaders being so good, I don't see them falling. Because if they were at 5 losses, 4 losses like everybody else, suddenly Falcons are only 3 games back.
Yeah, but they got off to a bad start.
But
they won their games.
So this is my point. This is how I see the rest of the season going. Let's just say that the Falcons do find themselves in the playoff hunt. Let's say that they do win the rest of their games. This is how it's going to happen. They're going to demolish the Buccaneers on Sunday. And then week 17, when they play the Buccaneers again, you say, oh, man,
Jameis Winston's going to throw 8 touchdowns.
Exactly.
Yeah, but are you taking the Falcons?
I am 100% taking the Falcons here.
Taylor?
Yeah, I have to take the Falcons.
Yeah, I am also taking the Falcons. But the Jameis Winston, 17 interceptions this year.
Honestly, at this point,
he's going to make a very good backup for a team.
Dude, the Falcons defense is playing with their fucking hair on fire. What's going on, dude?
Dan Quinn stopped calling the plays.
Yeah, that's the long and short of it. I hope they keep him.
They will, because they're going to win the rest of their fucking games.
I don't think they're going to keep him regardless, honestly. I don't think
they're not going to win the rest of their games, because they're going to play the 49ers, and they're going to lose the 49ers. Yeah. I do think that they're going to sweep the NFC South.
You think they're going to sweep the Saints?
Yeah, because the next game is a Thursday night game at the Georgia Dome.
You think the Saints are going to come out and put up only 11 points again?
No, but I think the Falcons will still win the game. It's going to be a shootout.
I don't think they're going to sweep the NFC South. That's a tough thing to do.
They've done it.
They've done it when they were good.
No, they've done it when they were bad.
This bad? When's the last time they were this bad? I know they just won 2 in a row. They have 3 wins. They have the same record as the Jets. Yeah, but let's be fair.
Look at the 2 teams that they just beat.
Yeah, sure. The Panthers are not relevant. They're not. They've got off to a good start, and clearly Kyle Allen got exposed and is fucking turning the ball over like crazy. But the Saints one I respect.
They've done it before. They've done it in an 8-8 season. They've done it in a 9-7 season where they've swept the NFC South. If the next Saints game was an away game, I would say no shot. But since they already beat the Saints away, I don't see them losing at home.
I would agree with you if the Georgia Dome was filling up more than 70% capacity.
Maybe they'll pipe in some crowd noise.
Again, yeah. Okay. The next game is the Detroit Lions at the Washington Redskins. The Lions are 3.5-point favorites on the road. Taylor.
I like the Lions, and I also like the Lions to cover. The Lions, in reality, are only maybe a handful of plays from a winning record.
Typical Lions season.
I mean, it's
snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
It's literally the weirdest thing. I mean,
they do it every year.
Even playing the Cowboys tough last week against a really, really bad Washington team. Again, Dwayne Haskins is getting thrown to the fucking wolves. He doesn't deserve to be treated like that. That's bad. Detroit's just a better team. They're going to run over the Skins this week.
Josh?
Detroit.
Yeah, I'm taking Detroit also. I don't need to spend too much time on it. The next game is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans.
I don't like it.
Titans 3-point favorites at home. If you remember when they played a few weeks ago, Marcus Mariota got the shit kicked out of him to the tune of 9 sacks, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Titans here. The Jaguars played very uninspired football against the Colts and Nick Foles' return. Nick Foles did not look particularly great. Not that that's his fault entirely, while the Titans have played very, very well with Ryan Tannehill, quarterback, 3-1 since they made the switch. Firmly in the hunt for the division. This game does scare me because Jacksonville, what they do well, seems to match up with the things that the Titans struggle with. Yeah. But I think being at home this time, the Titans got this one.
Again, this is another one I have to make up ground. I'm going to take Jacksonville. This is purely on a
trying to catch up
on a whim.
Fair.
Jacksonville.
Josh?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Titans here.
Okay. The next game is the Dallas Cowboys at the New England Patriots. Patriots 6.5-point favorites at home. Cowboys beat the Lions. Patriots had the win against the Eagles. Not particularly impressive on the offensive side. The only passing touchdown was thrown by Julian Edelman. Tom Brady struggling, and for the first time, he's actually blaming other people, which is a little weird. He's doing interviews in the media where, it's not my fault.
It just seems like maybe he's getting old and crotchety. Maybe he's getting sick of it.
Maybe he's finally feeling his age. Again, the old and crotchety thing, and maybe there's some rumors of the thing that he wants out. You don't know. But despite that, I'm taking the Patriots. I think just being at home, their defense seemed to get back on track against the Eagles, although Nelson Aguilar had some major drops at the end there that would have helped the Eagles win. But despite that, I think the Patriots' defense helps them win this game. The Patriots, if they really want to win another Super Bowl, the offensive line has to be better because what they want to do is run the ball, and they have not been able to do that.
At all.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Me next?
Yeah.
So they're going to go to Josh.
No.
I'm actually going to go with Dallas.
Okay.
Dallas does this thing where they play down to the competition and they also play up to the competition. Again, like I said, even last week with Detroit not being that great of a team, but they're still good enough. Dallas played to their competition. This is another opportunity for Dallas to cement themselves as the forerunner in the NFC East, and this should be a statement game for them. That defense is good enough to hold that offense in check, which is below average at best, and I think that offense is good enough to really score enough points to win this game and grind it out on the road, especially going into Foxborough. Again, this is a big statement game for Dak. Dak is going to win this game for them.
Josh?
Yeah, I'm actually going to take the Cowboys too. They got some weapons on offense, and we know how good the Patriots defense has been. But if you can get Zeke going, if you can get Randall Cobb going, if you can get what's his fucking name?
Amari Cooper
going.
Now here's the thing, because a lot of people are overlooking him, are still overlooking him. Stephon Gilmore has been the best corner in football all year.
He's been the best corner the last 2 years, honestly.
And so I'm not even looking at Amari Cooper so much. Get Stephon Gilmore away. Just send Amari Cooper on that side of the field and run fucking that way. Just hit Jason Witten for 5 yards. Hit Randall Cobb here. Hand the ball to Zeke within 5 to 10 yards and grind out that win. Doesn't matter.
So for me, I think the big difference in this game, and Taylor, you brought up a great point about the Cowboys seem to play up to their competition. They play down to their competition. In a game when they play up to their competition, I will take Bill Belichick over Jason Garrett any day of the week because it's going to come down to the little coaching adjustments that Jason Garrett just doesn't do.
I don't disagree with you at all. I just think that by the time that thing is being made, I think there might be a 2-touchdown lead.
All right, next game. This is probably the best game of the week. The Green Bay Packers at the San Francisco 49ers.
Great offense versus great defense.
The 49ers are 3-point favorites at home. Josh?
I'm going to take Green Bay.
Okay. Taylor?
I'm going to take San Francisco.
I'm taking Green Bay.
I just love that defense. I love everything about it. It's such an old-school 49ers
I agree.
team.
I agree with that. I think their defense is great. They're having some issues on the offensive line right now. I think the Packers coming off their bye week, another week for Devontae Adams to freshen up. I think that this game is a statement game for the Packers way more than it is for the 49ers.
Facts.
I think that what they're going to be able to do is force Jimmy Garoppolo into a shootout, which, you look at the wins for the 49ers this year, Jimmy Garoppolo's numbers are not particularly great, which is fine because they've used him in a game management role. He's made the throws when he had to, which is all they're asking of him. They're not asking him to carry the team, but when they need him to step up, he has. And in the situation where it's Jimmy Garoppolo versus Aaron Rodgers with the game on the line, right now, I will take Aaron Rodgers. 18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, back to being Aaron Rodgers, which is great for football.
It's hard to compete with
This is going to be a great game, though.
Yeah, it is going to be a very good game.
The next game is the Seattle Seahawks at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are 1.5-point favorites at home.
That's a pick 'em.
I'm taking Seattle. I think that their offense is going to be too much for the Eagles' defense, personally.
Now, here's my question. Is Tyler Lockett still out?
They said that he was practicing this week.
He was practicing this week.
I don't know.
Again, now this is just on a whim, but if Tyler Lockett plays, I feel much better about it. But I'm also going to take Seattle.
Okay.
I just think they're a better team. It's just one of those things where Philadelphia seems to pick it up, let it down, pick it up, let it down.
It's like the NFC East in general.
I know,
Yeah.
but I don't think
NFC East.
It's just NFC Yeet. I don't think that. I just don't think that Philadelphia has it in this game.
Hundo P. Josh?
I don't think I've picked against the Seahawks at all this year. That's my guy. That's my MVP. That's your New York Yankees second baseman, Russell Wilson. They're going to win the game.
All right, and the Monday night game is the Baltimore Ravens at the Los Angeles Rams.
It should be a good game, but it's not going to be.
This one?
Yeah,
the Rams are 3-point favorites on the road. The Ravens are 3-point favorites on the road. Taylor?
Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson MVP.
Ravens.
And I am also taking the Ravens. You're still waiting to see if the Rams can pick up anything, but Jared Goff, 13 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Last year he was in the MVP conversation. They used a fullback in a running scheme last week, and Sean McVay has not done that at all, which is crazy.
It just looks like Jared Goff is back to the bus that we all knew and love.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not as bad as Mitch Trubisky.
No, he's a manageable
the same warts that were there his rookie year when they were like, this guy can't even throw a football.
I think Goff will be a good journeyman quarterback later in his career, but I don't see he's a
little bit better than Andy Dalton.
Yeah, he's not a franchise savior.
A little bit better than Andy Dalton. All right, so this was episode 78 of You Watch I Listen. These were our Week 12 NFL picks. Guys, have a good week. Next week we will be recording the night before Thanksgiving. You won't be here.
I will not be
here. But I think we're going to be having Michael Manfredonio come in.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I love that. I love it too. He actually texted me yesterday. So we'll see you guys with Manfro next week. Later.